So great to be able to sit here with you for Centrical's Success 2022 event. We're really excited to have you to be part of it. But first, I want to say what a career you've had. You know, Hall of Famer, four-time Olympian, gold medalist, and you have your own shoe. Amazing. But I think even more recently, congratulations on the launch of your new athlete-focused real estate business, Aston Rose. Very cool.
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit with us about how your career journey from the WNBA to now real estate business owner has gone?
Well, I think it's gone great, as you said. Thank you for having me, first off. It's really an opportunity to be able to come and speak and join and hopefully inspire. That's my goal. I think when it comes to my career, I've just really been goal-oriented. You know, I'm type A, that's probably obvious, an overachiever a little bit, but for me, I've just really loved setting goals. And what I've always done is set short-term goals, which are goals I wanted to reach within 1 year. And then I've always set long-term goals, which are goals I wanted to reach within 5 years. And I may not have always reached every goal that I wrote down, but I think by having that focus of what it is that I wanted to achieve really forced me to make sacrifices. And I think that's really what it's about. When we have these goals or things that we want to do, or even our dreams, we have to make sacrifices to reach those dreams. And so in the WNBA, for example, my goal was obviously, you want to lead in scoring and rebounding and block shots, but I always want to win. I want to win championships. I want to be the best. I want to be consistent. So those were things that in order for me to do that, we look at it, the big picture, I had to break it down into small pieces. That's right. And the small pieces would be things like, each quarter trying to get 4 rebounds, right? Trying to get 3 offensive rebounds, points, maybe trying to get 4 or 5 baskets per quarter. So then I end up with the 20 and 10 at least because of the consistency of breaking it down into small pieces. So when I think about business, it's the same thing,
That's really great. And I definitely see that correlation, right? If we make goals too big, they become hard to achieve. But if we set those sort of micro goals and then move those in a sequence, you can achieve big things.
Absolutely.
And clearly you have, right? Now, how has your experience on the court translated into business success?
I would say that I apply pretty much, Eric, the same rules. Writing down those goals, short-term goals. And what I want to achieve. I think the biggest difference is in business, I try to look at what would be the end goal. Like what am I trying to reach? Whether it's being successful in real estate or public speaking, like what do I want the end result to look like? Right. And then I work backwards to figure out how do I get there? Who do I need on my team to make it work? What are the tangible things? What education do I need? Because competence is really important about whatever it is you're going to do. You have to do your homework, which homework is equivalent to practice.
That's right.
Right? So studying, putting the time in. I like to think that it's really important to share whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. I'm a team player coming from team sports. In business, I'm a team player. I want everybody to win. In order for us to win, we have to be really specific on what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. And it's the same thing as a team. Everybody can't be the point guard. Everybody can't be the center.
That's right. Absolutely. Great lesson in business for sure. So, as a WNBA player, named MVP several times, your experience leading the LA Sparks and your newest venture as a business owner, you've been part of amazing, high-performance team in both sports and business. A couple of questions on that. In your opinion, what are those keys to building those high-performing teams that lead to the kinds of results that you're talking about?
I think it's really about building a culture. It's about relationships because how successful can we be if people around us are not as successful, if we're not sharing that information, right? We talk about customers being really important in terms of business. I'm only as successful as I am with my customers in terms of real estate and all of those different people that I'm working with. So I think the relationships are important, how you show up and your personality. We all have different personalities, right? So it's important to kind of gauge people's personalities because we aren't all good at the same things. We don't all like the same things. But I do think it's important to be open because the fact that we are different, it's an opportunity to learn, right? I can learn from someone else. So for me in business, I think it's really important to meet people where they are, to see where your strengths are and your weaknesses and just figure out how we can grow together. But the key, another piece that I'd say is really important that people miss a lot is the importance of interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? You and I work together, Eric. There may be times where I may say, hey, you want to, so in basketball, it would be, would you like to meet? I saw you were struggling. Let's get some shots up. I'll meet you.
Yeah.
Let me rebound for you, right?
Yeah.
We go to the gym, you get some shots up, I start to rebound for you. After a while, you start to pass me the ball and you know where I like it, right?
Yeah.
But this interpersonal relationship that we're building, when it's game time, you know that you can trust me because we've worked together before.
Yeah.
I know that I can trust you because I believe in you because we've gone together.
Right.
It's the same in business, right? When you have these different teams and groups working together, it's important to also be intentional about interpersonal relationships. I'm not saying you got to hang out, you got to, you know, maybe it might be nice to grab a drink together sometimes, but it is important how you show up, how you support someone.
Right.
Maybe I'm finished with my task, but I'm saying, hey, Eric, is there anything I can do to help you?
Yeah.
And that might go a long way. You might tell me no, but there may be a time that you're in the gym and you go, hey, Lisa, I know you had asked me if you could help me. I really could use your help. No problem.
Yeah.
But how would that work if there's 5 or 10 of us and we all were intentional about supporting one another? After a while, we all would have success because we're building a culture that is not just here to win, but it's also about the support and the journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tremendous point. I know, you know, in the business world, right, how we collaborate as teams, you know, obviously has a correlation to what happens on the court.
Absolutely.
And how we support one another and feed off of each other to sort of create that mutual success together. But I think the point is really interesting around culture and building that together. But, you know, you also bring up kind of an interesting point around coaching. You know, and how that plays a role. You know, there's peer-to-peer, but then there's sort of manager or coach to player. So further to that, just as in the sports world, effective coaching within organizations is really important. It's become integral to building highly engaged, high-performing teams. So when coaching is done right, employees are motivated to perform well and empowered to achieve goals and even more satisfied in their work environment. So in your experience as a coach and leader, what's your advice to businesses looking to drive employee performance through effective coaching?
I think it's important to find out individuals' goals.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, you know, it's a company, maybe it's a lot of people and it's very hard to do, but it's important to have managers in places that are communicating with their teams and finding out each individual person's goal. Why does this work? I believe it worked even in basketball, right? If I had a chance to find out your goal is maybe you want to make the All-Star team, right? So if you want to make the All-Star team, that means you're ready to work your butt off this season, right? Because you got to get after it. Me as a teammate knowing that about you, I've also got to be locked in to put you in positions to set that pick and roll, to pass up a shot for you to get a shot so that you can make the All-Star team, right? Yeah. I'm making sacrifices, but I'm also understanding what your goals are so I can better support you and then therefore you can better support me. The same thing happens in business. We have to understand what an individual's goals are. Because some people come and they're at a work, they're at a job, and this may not be their ultimate stop. This might just be a means to an end because they have to feed their family, right? It's important to know that about people you're working with. But if you have employees that are there, that are happy, that are excited, and one day, hey, Eric, they want your job, that's a good thing because that means you have a person who's there willing to work as hard as they can to keep moving up. Right. It's important to understand what people's individual goals are, and now let's figure out how can we win collectively. Yeah. It could be bonus, it could be money-based. Right. Everybody has different motivations, but it is important to figure out what those things are.
Absolutely. I think at that point, and one that we talk a lot about at Centrical, is those personalized journeys that people are on, and how we can adapt to those specific journeys and help individuals on their path, which is a great point correlating with what we think a lot about. So, further to that, over the last couple of years, we know the world of work has changed drastically. Yeah. Now it's essential for companies to take that bold leap forward to empower their people, which we at Centrical believe is the most valuable asset of any company. How do you plan to put employees at the center of Aston Rose?
It's so interesting for us. When you talk about having other agents and people who are really excelling, we're in the luxury space, so it's very competitive, but when it comes to excelling, you really have to, again, communicate, be supportive, the support system that we have, and we're partnered with Side, which is an amazing technology company that allows us to get from, our execution from having your client to getting to closing so fast. And I think having the proper tools where your employees feel the support. We also have an amazing support system, literally. Like if you have any problems, we have 24 hours that you can call to get support, which I've had to use myself. So I think those are things that are really motivating, where you feel like we're not just talking about it, that we have the tools in place that really support the individual to be their best.
Great.
And that's one of the huge separations that we have at Aston Rose. I think the other thing is that together we all win. So there's plenty of athletes and celebrities that are out there. Just to tell you a little bit about Aston Rose, which is a sports and entertainment brokerage. And so we are one of the first Black-owned brokerages that is national. And it's an amazing opportunity because we have so many athletes and entertainers that are in this space, but we always see that, especially the athletes, after 5 years, they're broke. They have not invested their money well, or they haven't put it in things that appreciate. So our goal is to educate them, but in educating the athletes, we have to make sure that our agents are also educated. So again, it's about the system, it's about the support system, it's about being available. And I feel like that's our niche. We're not trying to be everything to everybody, but what we are focused on, we're having a lot of success because we do it really well. Yeah,
that's great. I love to hear about how you're empowering agents, you're training them, enabling them, giving them the knowledge that they can be effective with their customer, in the front lines. But it's great. I've had a chance to take a look at Aston Rose. It's an amazing company. I really love what you guys are doing.
Thank
you. Definitely I'm going to watch your successes as you go forward.
But don't just watch me. When you need some property, you call me.
I was looking around. I saw some nice properties on there.
All right.
What are some of the ways that you will incorporate, coaching, into your company's culture?
I think what I love about coaching, I'm the coach in the big three. I coach men. So a lot of times people ask me about, being a woman coaching men. And it really comes back down to these essential the discipline, the hard work, the competence, being able to be a good leader, being able to inspire. All of those same things that I take from basketball and coaching are the exact same things that I take to Aston Rose. Being accountable, you have to be very efficient. And there's a lot of moving parts to real estate because we have buyers, we have sellers, we have agents that we're managing, and we're national. So we have different leaders in different states. So there's a lot of parts to it, but I really enjoy it. And I think the biggest thing is being my authentic self, being a team player, being supportive, and showing that I think it's an action. It's not just talking about it, but really, hey, sending over that email that you need, or following through, or being on that call that everyone's set up. So the consistency and showing up, being ready to play, if you will, those are the things that I take as a player, as a coach, and as a businesswoman. It's all the same to me. I'm just not sweaty.
That's funny. Yeah, but it's amazing how sports, translates into the business world. All those lessons you learn, whether you're a small kid or a professional athlete, those lessons are applied to other parts of life, which is amazing. So pivoting a little bit. So we are seeing organizations investing more in data and analytics, to make better decisions. Obviously, we know as technology increases in sports, data and analytics applies in business in much the same way. When it comes to basketball, that data gives a coach the insight and intelligence about kind of what to do next. Game planning, player development, things like that. So with many players, just like employees on a team, it's important to personalize that coaching. How do you see the use of data empowering a coach or a manager, right now?
I'm huge on the data. I'm big on statistics. I think the numbers don't lie. I think it really correlates with performance, whether it's sports or business. And I think it's something that it's the way of the future, just to really understand how efficient your business is, whether it's the growth, whether it's employees improvement, or what do you call it, where the performance levels of each of the employees, or you as a whole, business as a whole, how you connect to customers. That all of those numbers and statistics really matter. So I think it's something that more people have to get used to and get comfortable with. I relied on it in my career. You know, you can see what your average was and what you need to improve on. If your free throw percentage is in 70%, then you need to probably stay around and shoot an extra 100 or 200 free throws a day.
That's right.
Because the numbers don't lie. You know, if your rebounding percentage is low, then you need to crash the boards more. So I felt like I've always been locked into the statistics and been able to improve every aspect of my basketball game based on the statistics. In business, it's pretty much the same thing. When you look across in terms of like brokerages or having opportunities for how many like African American or brown people really are impacting the real estate business as a whole, there's a small percentage of that. But now with Aston Rose and us coming together, we have an opportunity to really build something that's very inclusive, but that has never been done.
Right.
We would have not known that if we didn't have the statistics to prove that. But we have so much influence and cultural influence that now is really the time.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the things that we're doing at Aston Rose is really based on statistics also.
That's right.
And then the last thing I'll say is partnering with Side. Again, our technology is the way of the world, and to be with the best who can, make things, it's about time, how much time you're spending doing it, and super efficient. We've been able to partner with Side, and they've been able to do that for us. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys will find that the same thing, those statistics are impacting your business heavily.
Absolutely. We see data driving insight. Mm-hmm. Insight allows us to drive action, and that action can deliver results for us. So sounds like you're putting all of that into practice and achieving great results. So it's great to hear. So as you know, at Centrical, we like games. As a gamification solution, sort of creating engagement between companies and employees. So we want to play a quick game with you, if that's okay.
Oh, okay.
On our new podcast, Boost, our hosts play a game called Two Truths and a Lie with each guest. Okay. So if you're okay, we'll play the game, and I'll give you 3 statements, and I'd like to see if you could pick out which one is the lie. Okay. So as you know, managers as coaches are critical to keeping employees engaged and performing their best. The fact is that engaged teams drive better business outcomes. So which of the 3 is a lie? Engaged teams are 25% more productive. Second one is companies that effectively engage their employees are 23% more profitable. Or employee engagement drives 10% increase in customer loyalty. One of those is a lie. I can read them again, or maybe you even know.
No, I know that A is a lie. A is a lie because you said 23%? I said,
or 25%.
25%. And I believe that if managed properly and employees are engaged, that number should be at least twice that.
So you know what? You are spot on.
Yeah.
Like on the court or at Aston Rose or other things you're doing, you got it right. The engaged teams are 45% more productive.
45?
So 45,
okay.
yes.
I was close, so almost 50%.
You were, yeah. So obviously the data, the coaching, the leadership, all is coming together because 45% is the target on productivity employees.
Yes, because we need that. That's about inspiration. If you're truly being inspired by the group, that percentage should be much higher, which is great.
Absolutely.
It's a great number, so we know that works.
Absolutely, yeah. So you nailed it. Excellent job. So another question. To us at Centrical, success is about taking the bold leap forward. Okay. What does success mean to you?
Success for me probably goes back to the goals. Yeah. And having that goal sheet and being able to check off a lot of those goals. I've, again, set so many goals since I was a young girl, from what points I wanted to average to being, the top player in the state of California. Yeah. Then I became the top player in the nation, right? Getting college scholarships and choosing my schools, top 5, Stanford, USC, Notre Dame, Tennessee, and Long Beach State, I think it was. So I ended up choosing USC. Fight on to all the Trojans out there. I think success is just writing down those goals and being able to achieve it. And yes, here's the thing, I look at the acronym of choice. Yeah. In order for me to reach those goals, and I want for the people to know, all those goals that I've set is come down to the word choice. C stands for competence.
Yep.
You have to be competent in whatever it is you're doing. You have to educate yourself. With the access of the internet, there's no excuse.
Right.
Okay, H is for hard work.
Yep.
There's no shortcuts to all the success that I have had. I have worked my butt off, whether it's been in the gym, shooting 200 to 500 shots a day, getting up playing pickup at 6:30, playing with, meeting my coach, lifting weights with my trainer, going to practice, go home, take a nap, watch Judge Judy, go back to the gym. Like, I put in a lot of hard work, okay? The O is for optimism. You just gotta stay positive. Like, you have to stay positive and surround yourself with positive people. That's really important because negativity is a very heavy weight and it can spread easily, but to be optimistic and positive is important. The I is for integrity. No matter what I do, I want to do it with integrity. I want to be a woman of my word. I encourage other people to be that way. The other C is for courage. We have to have the courage to go after our goals. And sometimes that means failing. Like, we don't always get to where we want to be. You can't be afraid to fail. And then the E is for execution. A lot of times people have these lofty ideas, or you come together like, oh, we can do this. And then over time, when it gets hard, people stop. Like, you have to be able to execute it all the way through. And with that execution comes a lot of sacrifice, right? I've had to sacrifice a lot of time. I missed my high school graduation. I missed out on a lot of, hangout and cookouts and family time while being in the gym or traveling the world playing basketball. That was a part of the sacrifice. But I also ended up owning a few properties by the age of 24, had a nice car, that was a part of the trade-off. And so execution is important. So the acronym choice is what I like to leave everybody
I love
with.
it, and obviously applies for every manager, every employee, any stage of your career or your business. Choice, something we all need to remember. I think that's great. So moving to the next question, right? We have thousands of current and future customers watching. All are made up of leaders, coaches, managers, employees looking to be part of high performance teams. Based on your successes and experiences, from the court to the boardroom, what advice would you give to them that would help them to achieve their success in 2022?
I'm going to sound like a broken record now, but you got to write down your goals, the goals that you want, and whether you make them yearly goals or quarterly goals, that's important. I think it's important for everybody to know what the goals are, because that makes you recognize what you have to sacrifice and what has to get done. I'm also task oriented, so to break it down even smaller into like micro, we need to make sure that we understand what the tasks are for the day, for the week, for the month to reach those goals. And so I just feel like it's important to communicate. My undergrad is in communication, so communication is really important to me. But sometimes if you don't direct or lead, people have a hard time understanding where they're going. They're there, but they're not quite sure what they're trying to accomplish. So as you accomplish goals and as you win, because this is the other thing, the other piece is after you win, people are like, now what have you done for me lately? Because that was last year. So each year you have to reset, and you have to reset these goals, because when you win and you guys are successful, or you have a certain revenue that you've reached, what happens? You want more. You want to beat it. I don't know if that's just the American way, but we are just so task-driven, right? Success-driven, that it never stops. And that's the hard part. Even in sports, it was like, I won championships, but even the next season you come back and you're like, okay, well, we got to do it again. Like, that's what's driving you. So we love to win. Winning is important, but setting those goals and figuring out where you're going and working backwards to break it down into smaller pieces so that everyone knows exactly what they're doing to get to the top.
Yes, so many great points in that. Obviously there's a learning element, there's a goal setting element, even sort of that incremental goal concept, that's achievement, and then coaching plays into that, and then how you sort of close that loop and bring it all together again. Like, even if you're starting another season, right? You have to re-begin that process.
Because that's what keeps people motivated. If it's sort of this lofty dream that's, that goal is so far out there, every day people lose sight of what the goal is
Yep.
because we did nothing to sort of reset ourselves.
Right.
And we didn't celebrate the milestones because there's milestones to getting to that top goal.
Yeah, yeah.
We have to celebrate those too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we need a moment. We need a pajama day or work. I don't know. You know, you need, you know, like a kid, like you need moments of celebration because again, we're human.
Yeah.
If we're never stopping to celebrate and smell the roses or have an activity or,
Yeah.
you know how they have those activities where you can take everybody out and you do these trust activities where you have to
Yeah.
climb and do. Those are important
Yeah.
for team building, and people have to get out of the monotony of just what they're doing every single day.
Yeah.
And especially with this coming out of the pandemic,
Yeah.
it's a good time to re-engage people. Not all the time. Everybody doesn't want to come back to the office necessarily, but it is a good time to re-engage and find activities for people to feel motivated and inspired.
Well, I know just as you said how hard you worked to create those achievements in your own career, you had to give up a lot of sacrifice, or you had to make a lot of sacrifice,
Yes.
give up a lot of things that sort of led you to get where you wanted to be. You had to stop and appreciate that
Yes.
moment and then start again.
Absolutely. Work hard, play hard.
That's a great well, that's a great point for Success 2022. You
Yeah.
know. Well, getting to know you, we're WNBA fans as well.
Yay.
We'll be rooting for the Sparks.
All right.
Hopefully they can, you know, do what they need to do this year to be successful. But no, that's great. And you know, but yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, Eric, wait, before we go, I have a question for you. Tell me, how can Centrical help everyone here watching as well as Aston Rose?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and you know, wow, I wasn't expecting to get a question, but you know, because you know, I don't have any gold medals. I certainly don't have no, I don't have a shoe. I don't have any MVPs. But what I do have is I do have a solution for many people who you know are looking to retain managers and employees, or really struggling to provide consistent motivation or coaching
Yes.
to their employees, or really finding that the traditional learning approaches aren't delivering the employee growth and productivity that they're looking for. But Centrical offers a solution for perhaps Aston Rose or other companies out there looking to solve employee attrition issues or employee motivation issues, or really how to make employees more productive or grow in their performance and their jobs. So we are helping many companies around the world to support their employees, and when we do that at scale, companies win along with the employees. So really appreciate you asking that question.
Yes.
But it has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed getting to know you and learning more about your career and your successes. And we will at Centrical be watching you and your future successes as you go forward.
Thank you. Thank
you,
you so
Lisa.
much. Thanks for having me.
Yep.